Today, we're going to talk about Terri's story with Bella and how this most difficult dog turned out to be her best teacher. And now they are living the good life. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kathy Kowalik, and I believe that our dogs connect us to the heart and soul of what really matters in life. So hang out, and we'll take a deep dive into the human-dog connection and explore strategies that will inspire you to create legendary, enlightened partnership with your dog. This is the Enlightened By Dogs podcast. Well, hello, Kathy Kowalik here, your host of the Enlightened By Dogs podcast. And these past few weeks, I have really enjoyed sharing some of my best dog teachers and some of our story. And I hope that you have gained so much. Now, I will probably at some point come back and do some more episodes around that. But for now, I thought I'd change things up just a little bit and bring in some interviews with some of my students, my Brilliant Partners Academy members that have their own stories and that have been through some really challenging times with their dogs and have come out the other side and have learned so much and whose lives are so much better as a result of having these special dogs in their life. So today we're going to talk with Terri and her dog, Bella. Terri adopted Bella from a local shelter and quickly found out that everything over-aroused her and put them into a red zone spiral that was impossible to get out of. And Terri was feeling angry, frustrated, embarrassed, and definitely sad. Today, we're going to talk about Terri's story with Bella and how this most difficult dog turned out to be her best teacher. And today, Terri says, I never dreamed I would be hiking with both of my dogs, enjoying nature without constantly scanning. And I love having the tools I learned in BPA to keep my little pack safe, calm, and happy. So let's play this interview. It's really informative. There's Q&A at the end where some of our listeners were able to ask specific questions to clarify so they could help their own dogs. So you're going to really love this interview. Let's roll that right now. And give us a before picture. So we're mainly going to focus on, I think, Bella, right?
Bella's been my teacher.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, introduce yourself. Tell us where in the world you live, and then tell us how life started with Bella and some of the struggles that you were having with her.
Well, I'm Terri Jonas, and I live in the Sacramento, California area. And I have since about 8th grade, so most of my life. I've been involved in dogs most of my life. We've always had a dog. I was in 4-H in the dog project and training. But I've had several dogs throughout my own dogs who have all been awesome. And I have Toby, and he is a wonderful dog. He's a German Shepherd mix, and he's been a great partner. But we got Bella. Let's see, she's seven now, and we got her when she was 6 months old from a local shelter. I've never really had 2 dogs at once. Generally, I always just liked having one dog. It was sort of my husband's idea to get Toby a puppy pal. So we picked her out, and she's a fire personality. None of my other dogs were a fire personality. I'm a water personality.
Mm.
She was a bit much right off the bat for me. And I'm the one who's the dog person in the family. So right away, Toby likes his space. And I had to right away give some boundaries to Bella. You can't be in Toby's space. He's not happy. He's like, when is she going home or going away?
You're like,
But I have to say now it's different. But, she had I think she had full stress buckets when we got her. She had come from a foster person brought, had her for a while because she had Demodex and Parvo, and she had to go through some series of treatments before we even got her. So, anyways, right off the bat, I've trained puppies before or had, and most of my dogs ended up being a partner. And but I only knew what I knew at the time, and that was the traditional training methods. And I tried. She was very excitable on walks. Like right off the bat, we were walking in the neighborhood. I had both dogs, and they were actually, walking by my side. But Bella, being a puppy, she, wavered in front of me, and I went down on the pavement and right away. So I've got my whole elbow was missing, and it was just frustrating from the very beginning. And the more I worked with her and the more hyper she was, she loves people. She was just excitable about everything, including food, and just everything was excitable to her. And puppies get excitable about things, but this was over the top. And but I was determined. We adopted her. I'm determined to do my best. And as the time went on, it just got kind of worse as far as trying to deal with her excitability, because I wasn't sure what to do. I started, trying to find methods that might work with her. And, she just, once she got on a walk, which, I thought they had to go for a walk at that point, which, I just thought, I'm embarrassed some of the things I tried because I was searching for, this method, that method, maybe I should try this, traditional stuff I learned before wasn't really working. And she was just too distracted. And I even shook a can of rocks at her to get her to look at me. That's how bad it got. And felt so bad and guilty. I cried a lot about it, and then I was like, well, I got to try the halter thing because I got to pull her head around and get her attention, or I got, eventually it was the prong collar, because my dream was hiking with both my dogs out in nature. And I don't need to be near people. I like to be out, but a mile away could be somebody or something. And it would just be so distracting to her. It was like, I guess you call it the predator focus or whatever. Not that she never barked or anything. She'd whine and pull and almost like scream sometimes, not really barking or it was just like, I need to go to that, whatever.
Her attention would lock on and there was no unlocking her,
like
right?
laser. Yeah. So as I went on, I tried every different thing. There was even one guy I got online, and he was like, he seemed more, partnership style, but then he was like, you have to show your dogs that you're eating before you feed them, or some weird things. There was a lot of weird things out there. And, then there was the dominance thing and the pack leader thing. And I was just like, not feeling any of it. and feeling so guilty and so sad. And I didn't like Bella. I was like, I don't know why we got her, but I was starting to not, want her around, but I know that we couldn't do anything about that. So I was just like, well, you're just going to stay home and Toby and I are going to go do all our, but she just wanted to belong. She loves every human. She's just, so when she was 2, she started having some ligament issues in her knees, probably from where I was taking her hiking, but she needed to go to the vet a lot. And then she had a lot of allergies and skin issues, and all of this was stressful too, stressful to her. I was trying to find a balance. I got her allergy, like the Glacier Peak thing done, and found out what foods she couldn't eat. And so I was starting to try to figure that out, her stress bucket would get full every time we went to the vet. I mean, she loved everyone there and they loved her, but it was just this frenzy. Like we started using that word recently. I heard the frenzy was always there. So, I was just frustrated, sad, guilty, feeling guilty for all the things I tried on her. She's such a love bug too, it just made me really sad, makes me emotional right now.
Yeah,
So
I hear you. So other than the walking, how was she at home and how were things? I mean, was she calmer and easier to be around at home?
I was starting to, try to find ways to calm her and, and another thing that wasn't right, but I would just lay her on her side and just almost like try to fix her, calm down, but that wasn't,
You will calm down right now because I said so.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And
I hear you.
no, she felt a lot more safer and calmer at home, especially in the house. But, one of my kids come over. I mean, she'd finally relax and then she'd hear something because she was at that time very sound sensitive. And it was like 0 to 60 to the door or, and Toby was kind of getting that way too. He's already, Toby's my metal wood dog and he's already feeling, like he's got to find out what's wrong, But,
so if I remember right, so the difficulties with Bella started to affect how things were with Toby, old reliable Toby, right? And so things started to get a little bit wacky with him too.
But when I look back,
being affected,
when I look back, I feel like we had a good relationship, but I was still, both my husband and I were, yelling out the door, Toby, quit barking, still not at that place where, and just because he wanted to do the right thing, he would usually
say, okay,
fine, don't yell at me. So she was, we were finding ways to get her to be okay at home. But it was almost like sometimes when we knew people were coming, I put her leash on and like restrain her when they came, or I demanded them to be in a spot, or, I would yank them away from the front door. It was just like I didn't really have the tools to do the right thing, and so, and I was like, don't look at them, don't talk to them, and that's all they wanted was to belong and be part of the, whole thing. So,
well, when we're in the orange zone with our dogs, I mean, we're just as desperate as they are. I mean, when we're just doing the best we can. I mean, that's, and so we can't think clearly. We can't, get creative and problem solve. You know what I mean? We're in the same boat as the dog, basically. And that's why that spiral just really seems just like suck us in. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about how things are today. Let's take a deep breath because that was heavy, right? I feel
almost,
you.
I've almost gotten, well, I am now at the point where, unless I'm actually talking about it, I let the past go finally, and I've, and a lot of your programs have helped, and not just the BPA, but the CAP and the other programs that you offer have been awesome. Life now is good. Bella, we're perfect where we are. I can't say that she's 100%, stress-free or calm about everything. Yesterday was like 40-mile-per-hour winds, and she wanted to snuggle, and luckily I'm just sitting around, trying to get well. So we snuggled, and things were banging on the wall, and she gets a little aroused about that. But home is so good for her. Outside in the yard, she could lay out there by herself on her cot and be happy as a clam because it's warm outside. She loves being warm. She's really pretty chill. I was able to start walking in the neighborhood a bit. I've had some successful walks with her by herself, and some successful walks with both dogs, because I've changed. And I want to make that such an important thing because nothing changed until my mindset changed. When I think it was Facebook maybe, that I got, decided to listen to the BPA stuff. And I think I've been in this like 3 years or something. I don't know. So I don't even remember exactly. But I know I was searching and I found you and started just listening to all the podcasts. And it so resonated with me that was where we needed to be. And I felt still had that guilt and everything hanging over me of ways that I tried to do stuff before. But we are just so much better now. I recently went on my favorite trail, this olive tree trail. We just can walk as a little team, a little group, and we're just good. And Bella checks with me. The dogs mirror each other as far as, both of them are great, and if they stop when we need to. Most times right now I have them on leash because of poison oak and snakes and things like that. So they're both just happy to be out with me, and I just feel so connected. And so I can let Bella off leash when I know it's a good place. And actually because Toby's my wood explorer, he's more often, I'll be there in a minute. I got to check out this bush, or I got to, pee on something or whatever. And Bella, it's like, I just call her name Bella, and she's just like, her head snaps around, and she's easily distracted, but now she just like comes running. She's the first one. So it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling, and I feel so much love for her now. And she's such a sweet dog, and she wants to please. And as the years have gone by, it's funny. Communication is so much better, and it's so important. It took her until she was like 5 years old. She finally realized that if she gave a little bark outside the door, that we know she needed to come in. Because before it's like, oh, where's Bella? Oh gosh, we've left her outside for, and, Toby's the one that, scratches on the door, and, he's always a communicator. And it was so funny when she first learned to woof, and it's like, oh my gosh, she communicated with us,
Yeah,
So,
without getting
um,
frantic and worried and
yes,
stressed
no,
out. She's like, I'll just ask to come in. Yeah.
she's still a party girl. We do have sometimes we have guests, and she's also food beggar, but we can tell her, no begging, you go on. And recently, a couple months ago, I had 10 people at the house, and she's much better if I just let her join us.
Mhm.
And sometimes I might have to put her on her leash and give her boundaries, because we have a low table. If people are eating there, she's just like, hi, can I join you? It's like, no.
I'd like a
So,
bite of that if that's okay with you.
yeah,
I'll just go ahead and help myself.
yeah, yeah. So we do still have some, we have to set some boundaries, but she's just so willing to cooperate. And another thing, we have some very unbalanced dogs next door. And one of them is obsessive about jumping in the pool and swimming around in circles and barking. And then they have a new big doodle dog that they never set any boundaries. So the dogs bark at each other, and the big splash into the pool is like kind of startles all of us. And my dogs now, just from being partners and mirroring how the behavior should be, and if they're alerted or run over there, I just calmly, okay, come on, let's go inside. And they want to be with me wherever I am now. So they just, oh, okay. Just from practicing and practicing myself being calm. So
Mhm.
now, with that big distraction of their dogs barking next door and the splashing in the pool and all of this stuff, I can just say, Toby, Bella, come on. And yeah, in the beginning, I would love them and give them a treat. I would say, oh, well, I think you guys are so awesome. Let's come in here and I'll give you a treat.
Mhm.
So, and then the name game thing instead of saying, Toby, Bella, get in here, now it was when I learned the name game. Oh my gosh. They just come with their names for love because of the way I say it. And my husband has mirrored me. I didn't say, oh, you need to do this and this and this. He just saw how slowly, you know, he saw how it worked. And now he does it too. So it's
Yeah.
just, we're all a big happy family now.
Wow. Okay, so if you have questions for Terri about some of the details, go ahead and put it in the chat. See if you can remember to put a Q or question so we could find it. So Terri, while we're doing that, you've already given us a bunch of things that you've highlighted. You've pulled out some things, so we'll just start talking about it. So it from if I remember right, it sounds like the biggest thing or one of the biggest things really was you learning how to get calm yourself inside. Does that seem
Yes.
like does that rise to the top is one of the biggest factors in this new life that you're living with Bella and
Yes.
Toby?
And once I, learned that was like a tool, I needed to address myself and what I was feeling. And once I got into the habit and I practiced that, sometimes I slipped. You can't be perfect all the time, and sometimes your feelings are different each day, and
Mhm.
you really have to concentrate on that, because your thoughts, we've been learning your thoughts are powerful, and you need to you have that control, in your circle of control is you. And that's where it really needs to start, because Bella has unconditional love all the things that I did that I am embarrassed and sad about previously, training methods or whatever. Once I learned to let that go and forgive and go with this new way of trying to recondition my mind, learning from you all the tools and having that toolkit, I would start off in the clarity of, is this a good day to go on a hike? Is this a good place to go? We'd go somewhere. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Maybe we should try somewhere else, because we drive to a lot of places we go. And for the longest time, Bella, it's too hard for her to walk in the neighborhood, so I can't do that. Toby's fine. And sometimes she doesn't like it when we go without her, but she's become accustomed to that. And so, then it was a long time before I started out in the neighborhood with her. And it's still too hard for her sometimes. So we just have to turn around and go home. But she's just happy. Even if I take her out and go one block, she's just so, oh, I'm so glad you took me, Mom, because she, she felt like, okay, I belong. I still belong. She's just that way. And yes, focusing on me was really key. And also it's taken a long time to balance her holistically. And I think the things I've done have helped also. Mm-hmm. So she has a totally different diet. She has, none of her things that she's allergic to. We still have outside allergies, but she's a much calmer, happier dog. And I think it's all of it together,
Right.
And
it's really isolating things. And we can be stuck, right? And so if we look at our dogs as a whole being and sometimes, diet changes or just accounting for, a temporary health thing and understanding that maybe they're uncomfortable, maybe they have a little pain, maybe they just don't feel good. And so they're a little bit crabbier. Their bucket's going to empty, fill easier right now. You know what I mean? And so just taking all those factors in can make such a big difference. So tell us a little bit about the, because you obviously go for beautiful hikes. And so at one point you hated it, right? I mean, she was pulling and acting out and she was all excitable and da-da-da. And so, and now it's really nice when you go on your nature hikes. So how did you, what were some of the things that you did to transition from how it used to be to how it is now? So we know that you yourself and how you calming yourself, emptying your own stress buckets, your perceptions, your thought reframes, all of that. And then when you were out there, what were some of the things that you did that were different, that were helpful?
I did a lot of pause, breathe, connect.
Okay.
I stopped scanning, but I was situationally aware. I was calmly situationally aware, and I was ready to say, oh, I think we need to go this way. And the dogs know that term, this way. They know that even if they're off leash or whatever, and I go a different trail, I say this way and they just go, with me. But on leash or whatever, same thing. And I know I've gone out there so many times. I know areas where it's safe off leash and where it's not, if there's curves and somebody else might be coming around a turn or whatever. So I've just, become very, very aware of what's safe for Bella. But now we can encounter someone even closer in. And yes, she still reacts, but not as much. And I just say, okay, well, let's go this way. And I have to tell myself not to get tense, because if I'm tense, she's tense. If I'm calm, she's calm. If we're sitting on the couch and I take a deep breath, she takes a deep breath. She's just, I know she can mirror me.
Wow.
She looks to me for calmness. Now she looks to me for calmness.
Wow.
And we have really become creative at changing direction, changing, not abruptly or tensely. It's like, oh, we better, we need to go down here and go off the trail, and then we'll go a different direction or whatever. And it's fine. And the dogs, especially Bella, I think that has built trust over the years, where it's kind of caused her to be calmer because I'm remaining calm. And even if we see something or we have to change directions, now she'll just be like, she'll look up at me. I mean, it used to be just like focus everywhere else. Now she'll look at me and I say, you are so good. You did so good during that. And then she's like, okay, we can go on. And she's sniffing, where she never used to sniff hardly at all. So she's sniffing a lot. And of course, she always wants to sniff whatever Toby's sniffing, because that's where she is. Oh, he's sniffing something.
Must be good.
Yeah, that's a party girl.
So did you, Good is asking, was there a time when you stopped walking her altogether in order to like kind of do a reset?
Yeah, I actually had to stop walking her when her knees were bad. So I think that, but I still didn't have the tools at that point. But, I did have to find different things to do. But once I found BPA, I didn't take her where things were hard. And during the summer, we don't do as much hiking because it's too hot and too it's spring and winter and fall that are good for us. And so during the summer, we just kind of hang out. But I did a lot of practicing. Once I got the BPA membership, then we were just doing a lot of out in the yard, walking partner out in the front a little bit, on leash, in the backyard. Any chance in the house, any chance that she wanted to be with me, I praised her. Anytime she wanted to be beside me was like, you're just such a wonderful dog, and I just, let my heart flow out with her, because, it was easy that now, because she's such a sweetheart.
One of the things I think is interesting, and I thought I would call that out for everyone, is that when you think about what you were doing with the walks and when you go on your nature hikes and all that, you were making decisions that helped you to feel safe, because you're a sage water person. She's a magician fire person, and her natural tendencies are not lined up with your natural tendencies. And so she wants to go say hi, she wants to play, she wants to greet, but you knew that you couldn't handle that very well and stay balanced and stay stable and not get upset, not get pulled in, right? Because it's so unlike you. And so I love that you made decisions that really helped you to be safe. Like if we don't feel safe first. It's like, you hear me say, like, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first, because if we don't do that, we don't have a chance. So I love that you do that. So I wanted to call that out for everyone, because I think that was a really important piece.
And that's a great analogy for a flight attendant. The oxygen mask.
Are you a flight attendant? I forgot about that. I forgot that you were. Yes. Yes. So you understand the concept.
Yeah. I really, when I reached the point where I really felt like that Bella was having a hard time and not giving me a hard time, and that I needed to forgive myself and, start working on how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And that was such a turning point, really.
Love it.
Yeah.
So switching gears just a little bit, when you talk about the people having guests over, having visitors over, and Bella was really excited and overexcited at first, right? Used to be. Did you do, once you really got into BPA and started looking at it from a partnership perspective, what were some of the things that you did? So Good is asking, like, were you doing like some of the more traditional, put her behind, asking her to go to a place, asking people to ignore her? Like, what were some of the things that you were doing to facilitate, if any? Like, so were you doing any things to help her settle, other than calming yourself and etc.? So can you recall some of the things that you were doing?
Well, I did sometimes, I would have her, I think I allowed her more to greet people, and I said, it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
She's very excitable. You can greet her once. She just wanted to greet people. And then once that was over, she wasn't a jumper up or, she just was like, lick your toes and just whacking her tail on everybody's legs, and it was like a whip.
Doing full body wags. I could see her.
Yeah. And woo, doing her woo, and just, being underfoot. And most people know her now. And I said, it's up to you. If you want, she's very excitable. So it's up to you. You can just walk in and pet her and leave it at that, or, so a lot of it, I still had to remind myself to be calm, because that was a point that made me anxious and not feel safe and calm. So at first, sometimes I had her on leash, and so I could, help her with some boundaries and things. And some people don't like dogs all over them, and
right.
So I just kind of I would be creative and explore what worked well. I know that not letting her be with us really filled her stress buckets. Like, if I kept her upstairs in the bedroom, oh my God, she was just like a panting, crazy mess. She just could not. I said, so that's not working. So obviously she feels much better when she's with everybody. And now she knows how she should be. And she knows her boundaries. And they do have cots and outside, and they know that that's a good spot for them. That's their place. And we just kind of worked at it. And most of our family, friends that come they know. And I have a friend who comes when my husband and I are both working, that comes, and my best friend, she comes and lets them out during the day, and they're fine, with her. They love to see her, but she knows how to, I just let it go. I let her tell me if it was too much, and she knows the dogs, and they know her, and they have their own thing. And I had to let it go.
So it
Because she's doing
sounds
me a big favor.
it sounds like your biggest strategy with the visitors in the greeting was less managing, more calming. Like you sort of stepped away from the micromanaging, and that helped everyone to relax, including Bella. And that made the greetings go a lot easier and smoother. Yeah. I love that. I thought I saw another question. Let me see. Oh yeah. So Bettina's asking, are you feeding raw, cooked, or kibble?
Raw.
Raw. And Edith's asking.
It used to be kibble.
Okay. So that was a big change that I'm sure really helped her. And Edith's asking, in what way did your perspective change for you to be able to let go of your frustration? Like because that can be hard, right? Once we're sucked up into being frustrated and stressed, like how did you do that? What was some of your strategy, or what changed?
Kathy, because you told me it was okay to do that. I listened to everything. And I just thought, wow, I heard those other stories. I heard, I kept with this community. I still, there's been times where I thought, well, I don't really need, to keep going on with this, but then every time I listen to a masterclass or even just a coaching call, I'm like, I still need this, even after several years, I still need this sometimes. And I still love to hear. And I just have to compliment you because, well, I'm like a citizen scientist. I like learning, and I like all the philosophies that you teach. And you have so many other aspects of just the way our mind works and everything that it's just been, I don't want to give it up. Makes me feel safe, calm, and happy.
I love it. Well, thank you.
That's being truthful and honest, and I like to be supportive too of the new people and the others that are struggling, because I knew the struggle. I was there.
Yeah.
The struggle was very real, and it was, kind of taking over my life. Yeah. So
thank you. Thank you, Terri.
Well, I hope you loved that interview and found some really useful tips. There's a bunch of gold nuggets in there. So I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I will have another story to share with you next week. So put these things to use, implement, enjoy your dogs, have a great week. And in the meantime, be brilliant. Bye-bye for now. Thanks so much for listening. And hey, if you would like to work with me so that I can help you discover the missing pieces you need so that you and your dog can finally be happy and enjoy life together, then head on over to dancingheartsdogacademy.com and request your invitation to join us in the Brilliant Partners Academy when the doors open for the next enrollment. See you next time, and remember, a brilliant partnership with your dog makes your whole life brilliant.